Hello everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. John here, your host. Before we get started, I want to give you a few seconds to recall what would have happened if Hillary had been elected. I just got done with a 30-minute bike ride. I've been doing that for a while now. It's time to get in shape, and I'm hearing that from more of us fat old prepper types. All right. Not only that, I keep hearing people ask this question. Well, are we better off with Trump than Hillary? The answer is yes. Where would we be if Hillary was president? Now, I've got my opinion, you've got yours, or maybe you don't, and you're looking for more information. But what I can say is it was a whole different setup at the time. Based on the information and contacts I have, war was being planned with North Korea. Real war. And Trump has talked us down. He's talked us back from that edge. He's done his thing. We've totally forgot about that type of stuff. At least I have for the most part. I don't believe we're going to war. Not in that way. But that was the direction Hillary was taking us. Why? Because the regime, the Obama-Soetoro regime, was in place, and it was making those plans, and they got stuffed. And when I say stuffed, those plans didn't just get fucking shelved, they got stuffed. What else, though, would be going on if Hillary, right, was in charge? What was she promising us? She was campaigning as the biggest feminist. Oh, everyone who has any thought of liberty and constitution, we were deplorables, right? There were plans, according to another source of mine, that the UN was going to start taking over some activities. If you recall, that ding-dong in Chicago was planning and asking the UN, or somebody, I think it was the UN, that would be Rahm Emanuel, Don't Let a Good Crisis Go to Waste, was going to use all the murdering in Chicago to try and bring in foreign troops to help out. And when I say that, it makes me sound like I'm crazy, like I'm paranoid. Like, who the hell would really say that? Who would really ask for that kind of help? Who would want that? You know, I went for this 30-minute bike ride. Basically about 90% effort the whole time. Not maximum effort. Not in that kind of shape yet. But this is what I was thinking about. John, are you paranoid? And I was going to make dinner and calm down and then talk to you guys, but I thought, fuck it, I'm going to snap a beer. And then I'm going to talk about this stuff, right? And like the new Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, I like beer. It's wetter and colder than a scotch, so that's what I'm trying to do. So if you notice a little sweat here, that would be the activity. So the world would have been different under Hillary. In a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, we'd be right where we're at today. What were we looking at when she was running? We were looking at a huge feminist push. Where are we at today? Huge, massive feminist push. Only we would have also been in war, and she probably would have continued with the low interest rate, cheap money policy at the Fed. She would have pushed for that. Now, I know Trump is talking like it, but Powell is doing something different. Now, prior to that, we started seeing massive inflation. In fact, if you follow John Williams' Shadow Stats work, he says, yeah, inflation has been higher because they've changed the way they configure it or figure it out or factor it. Right? It was a whole different world, and we're going in the same general direction, but I think Trump wants to give us a soft crash landing versus a hard crash landing. But I think we were going to have war internationally, And then I think we are going to have domestic, basically, disturbance here. We are having problems with Antifa, not just feminists back then, but the commies, Antifa. And then Trump took over, and thankfully, it hasn't gotten out of hand until recently. Now, before I get to what's going on now, recently, let's talk a little bit about what are preppers doing. Now, back in the 90s, we had the Patriot movement. It was the militia movement and Patriot movement. People were saying, I'm patriotic, and I'm going to be part of a militia. We're going to get ready because this is getting out of hand. This shit is wrong. And people were standing up for the Constitution. By golly, that was 25 years ago. 25 fucking years ago. And the government, through the Oklahoma City bombing of the Murrah building, staged a false flag, convinced America that patriots are bad and that that's what they want to do, and they basically killed the movement. The government usurped the word patriot for their Patriot Act, which was anything but patriotic. We were sold a bill of goods, a bunch of shit there. And like everyone else, I was like, yeah, Patriot Act. And then I was like, oh, what Patriot Act? Right? Take my rights? NDAA Patriot Act? How can that be good? Anyways, then what came up? Well, the thing we're doing now, the prepper movement. It was like, okay, we're not going to do this militia thing, but we're going to at least look out for ourselves, form small groups, learn how to shoot, have lots of food, right? It's like the militia movement without as much organization on the military part, but certainly on the food prep side, on the medicine side, on the bunkering side, on the scenario side, how to deal with what? Problems around us in our neighborhoods, right? Because when shit falls apart, we just need to protect ourselves, right? But there's something interesting happening again. And it's quietly happening. And that's that prepper groups are actually contacting other prepper groups in their areas. And it's happening slowly, and I'm talking about it because I'm hearing about it more. Preppers are wanting to get in touch with other preppers, forming loose-knit organizations of patriotic Americans for some reason, in addition to working with people they trust in government, in law enforcement, building those connections. Right? Now, there's not a ton of love and trust with all these connections, but they're building these connections. Right? There's not going to be secret handshakes. There might be blood oaths for all I know, but people are doing it. It's quite interesting. But let's leave that alone for now, because that's still forming. It's still growing. I'm still hearing about it, though. In fact, I'm getting direct questions about it and what to do about it. That's my opinion. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Now, let's move on to the next thing. What is going on right now? I talked about the purge last week. I talked about the things that are happening. I'm going to call everyone on the left the anti-social movement. They're socialist, but they're anti-social. Meaning they're trying to divide and split everyone into subgroups. If you're white, you're no good. If you're old, you're no good. If you're a man, you're no good. If you're a Republican, you're no good. And they want everyone looking at everyone else with suspicion. It's antisocial. That's what they're pushing. They're trying to divide us and get us to hate each other. That's what the left wants. That's part of their game plan. Not to mention, right, they use income envy, right? Income inequality to point to each other, to try to get people mad at each other, to fight with each other, right? But that's really not who you and I need to be worried about. It's not whether this guy makes another $10,000 or less $10,000 than me a year. That doesn't make them the enemy. What makes them the enemy is their mentality. And I'm calling them the enemy on purpose. Because when shit hits the fan, if you can't trust somebody, if they're an unknown factor, if they're a threat, we may as well just call them the enemy. Right now, I just said a few minutes ago, and you can go back and listen to the tapes if you want, Hillary Clinton is a giant, nasty, social fascist feminist. Right? She was pitting everyone against each other. She wasn't likable, and thank God she lost. But what was she doing? Right? She was committing major crimes. She's part of the Uranium One deal. Right? And and she committed crimes. Obama committed crimes. Everyone committed crimes. We found out later Comey committed crimes. Everyone in the FBI at the top committing crimes. Now, here's my thing about Q. If Q was right, do we have to run our nation into the ground and have a social insurrection in this country before they start arresting people? I could go to my computer and in 5 minutes have a stack of documents on Hillary, every crime she's committed, every bit of admission. People have done the work. It's been done. Why isn't she arrested? Oh, well, you got to have them all, John. Oh, really? James Comey, same story. 5 fucking minutes. Obama, 5 minutes. Susan Rice, 5 minutes. Loretta Lynch, 5 minutes. Everybody on the left who has committed crimes, everyone on the right who has committed crimes, 5 minutes. You can have all the documents. And we're just regular people in our fucking living rooms, right? How hard is it to put together enough information showing criminal behavior, take it to a grand jury, get the indictment, and then move on to the next? How many hundreds of thousands of people are evil and doing wrong? Not that many. A couple of thousand? Maybe 10,000? Go arrest them. It's not that hard. You know, it's incredible. Okay, right? Here's the Hillary file. Right? Done. I could stack another 1,000 up in one day. The government has vast, nearly unlimited resources of manpower to put together the files. It doesn't take that long. These people should be arrested. There's a fucking problem. Now, a big part of that is, what are they doing? Booker, Maxine Waters, Hillary Clinton are out there continuing to push for radical leftists to get in our faces, to chase us out of restaurants, out of our offices, everywhere they see us, stores, they are to harass us, to get in our faces. And not just politicians, but everybody. And it's happening. This weekend, a woman was pummeled, beaten, kicked by a male feminist because she wasn't a feminist. Let that sink in a second. You see, it's not about women and men. It's about feminism, which is a hardcore socialist plank to get their agenda passed. Now, when Trump lost, they lost their fucking minds. The greatest feminist, the most powerful feminist, and whether or not Hillary believes all her shit, it doesn't matter. She's using it. They lost their fucking minds. They've been organizing. Apparently they have groups, and I got this on good authority. The socialists in our country, no matter where you live, whether you're out in the rural area like I am or in a big city, they're taking notes. If there's one thing these pieces of shit can do, is organize and take notes. They're community organizers. They're finding out who is. They're making Santa lists. Commie clause. You know, they got a good list and a bad list. And if you're a prepper, a suspected prepper, a Republican, they have got your fucking name and your street address, and they know where you're at. They know where I'm at. And it's fucking game on when it happens, if they want to play that game. But the area I'm in, we'll get into more of that later. They've got these lists. They've got hit teams. They've been arming themselves, and they've been being armed. There is anecdotal information, and there is direct law enforcement information available about what these clowns are doing. If you know where to go, you know who to talk to, you'll get the information. Once again, don't believe me. I'm just a messenger. I'm a guy to get you thinking. But God damn it, you need to be thinking about what these fucking people are doing. This last month and a half, with Judge Kavanaugh moving in, has gotten the left just absolutely apeshit. Now, Kavanaugh said in the hearings, this is fabulous. He's like, well, you know, Roe v. Wade is well-established law. Really? I was pretty fucking sure that the Second Amendment was pretty fucking clear. Yet the government had, well, it's well-established law that the government can tell us what to do and outlaw this and outlaw that and outlaw the other. And then what? We had the McDonald case several years ago. Well, no, you have a right to self-defense. The Constitution speaks to the individual. Well, I thought it was well established that the government can make whatever rules it wants. Well, they can change their mind, in other words. And it's not just about the Second Amendment. It's about everything. Right? Oh, it's a living document. Really? Well, we're going to live it the other fucking way now, and the left knows it. The left is shitting in their pants because Kavanaugh can revisit it with the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court can visit it and use Kavanaugh. Right? Of course, they don't have enough votes to stop overturning Roe v. Wade, and that is driving them nuts. And the left is using, and I don't think Kavanaugh is going to go after that right away. There's bigger fish to fry, even though that's a very important fish, right? The sanctity of life, right? And holding people responsible if they want to make stupid fucking decisions. Still, Kavanaugh's got bigger fish to fry, but the left is going to use him. He is a divisive tool. His nomination, the process, was a divisive tool to wind up Democrats, to get them outraged, to get them fearful, to get them to take action. The left and all the lunatics in charge need the little lunatics on the street crazy. And if you don't think they're crazy, go back and start watching what has happened the last few weeks, especially last week and the weekend. These people are not sane. The leaders of these feminist groups chant at their people, and the people chant back. They are robotic drones. Who needs robots when you have these fucking clowns? They screech and scream and yell at everyone that opposes them. Even elected officials. Now, these senators, if I was a United States senator, and one of these screeching harpies, these fanged banshees was in my face, I would have security on her ass and have her hauled out. Right? The Senate is supposed to be the decorum of statesmen. Are you fucking kidding me? So you're going to let these idiots run loose? Freedom of speech? Take it outside, bitch. Right? They were in their faces. They're literally clawing on their doors, interrupting travel, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a form of kidnapping when you impede someone's progress and they don't want to be stopped. They stopped. I mean, it was incredible watching the way these feminists screeched, screamed, yelled, interrupted. They are serious. They are lunatics. They're lunatics. And they fear for the power that they see slipping away. And the left, the leaders in the left, are more than willing to use them. Now, we've got a midterm election coming up. I don't think I could have been, well, better, more capable. I don't know what the word is. I have been saying it's going to get stupid. It's there now. We're there. It's stupid. When people are being doxxed, or rather their personal information, their homes, their names, their phone numbers, their addresses, their houses, their family members, that information is being released to the public. Not only by these idiots on the street, but by government officials and interns in Washington. Not only are they doing that, but they're threatening to do it. They're using it as threat. That's fucking extortion. There's a fucking felony right there. And they're getting away with it. These members of Feinstein staff and Booker staff and all these other bastards, right? They are getting away with crime. Why aren't they being arrested? How fucking much more do we need for the FBI to get off their ass and fucking do something about it? As in, arrest them. Hello, Q. How much fucking more do you need? Start making arrests and put these people on their fucking heels. If this is a war and it feels like we're getting there, do something. Fuck. The people have been waiting for years and decades for someone in the government to do something right. Fuck. Jesus. You know, so, these lunatic left people have shown us what? What have they shown us? They're organized. They're funded. They're trained. They have information on us, where we live, who we are, what we do, what we have, and they're showing a willingness to be aggressive and violent. Okay. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. Okay? You and I are preppers. We can't do anything about Washington except bitch and moan, which is what I've been doing. We stand a very real chance of a major false flag. Based on the information I have, the information I've gathered, the information that's available out there. There are many different ways it can be brought about. We've seen evidence of it occurring a little bit naturally and a little bit manipulated. We've seen that on the economic side. We've seen it on the social side. Some of it's organic and some of it is being led and funded by people like George Soros. But George Soros, though he's definitely an evil prick, he's not the only one. There are many billionaire Democrats that don't want to lose their power, and they certainly don't want to be arrested for their crimes. And there's many, many, many of them. Now, they can cause shit to hit the fan. I talked about purge. I talked about an election night type of chaos. How about after the elections? And they go, oh, no. See, the Democrats are so revved up, they could very well take the House back. I don't fucking think so. Here's the reason why. Prior to the Kavanaugh vote, Democrats were wound up. Wound up. Like 50% of them were like, we're going to vote, you know. And at that time, about 45, maybe 40% of Republicans were like, we're going to vote. Since the Kavanaugh hearing, since all the fucking stunts the left have done, the Democrats are like, we're revved up even more. And there's like 65% of them going, we're going to vote. Guess what? The Republicans have jumped from like 40 up to 65. It's like neck and neck. But the interesting thing is, more Republicans are now awake, aware, and pissed off going, we're going to vote. The Democrats always get wound up for elections. The Democrats always vote twice, vote often, even the dead. But the Republicans have woken up more than the Democrats. And God willing, you know, my prayer is that the government is paying attention to election fraud. Trump has had 2 fucking years to figure out what is going wrong and to correct it. Now, I know he can't do it from the Oval Office, but he's got agencies, bureaucracies, people by the thousands. What the fuck are we paying these people for? Do your goddamn jobs and go out there and fix all of the fraud. And I hope it's been done, because it's too late to start now. I hope it's already been done. Am I pissed? Yes, of course I'm pissed. I'm always pissed. Am I dramatic? Of course it has a much better effect than me sitting here sounding like George Attenborough all calm. Right? I'm riled the fuck up. Right? Why? Because what is at stake? What is at risk? My life, my sons' lives, my country, and my countrymen. Other Americans, real Americans. And there is a difference between real Americans and these commie pricks. So, we could have a shit it's the fan event. A false flag type event before the election to interrupt it, or after the election as a result of it. I don't see any fucking chance for a blue wave. I'll be shocked out of my flip-flops if that's what happens. But I do expect a false flag either before or after. I do. Now here's where it comes home. This is where the chickens come home to roost for us. These little feminist groups, these radical, militarized, communist, socialist, fascist, whatever you want to call them, whatever flavor of the day you want to call these little pricks, feminists, and there are a bunch of them, and you have now seen them on TV. They're protesting Kavanaugh. I saw signs, placards being waved in the air. Down with entitled men. No more entitled men. Entitled men? What does this have to fucking do with entitled men? That's the feminists out there, and there's a bunch of them. See, this wasn't about rape, even though they scream rape culture, even though they scream patriarchy, right? It's about men, their hatred of men. The greatness of this country was brought about by everybody, by men. But they want to blame us and make us the pariah in their pain and their suffering. They all want to claim victim status and that they survived. Oh shit, I survive every day. Where's my fucking medals? There's none, right? The reward for surviving is you get to keep breathing. Shut the fuck up, go to work, pay your own bills. All right, so what is going on? If we have a Shit It's the Fan event, this is where the rubber meets the road for us as preppers. Is these people are on the streets in your neighborhood. Whether you live in a blue state or a red state, a blue county or a red county. I live in a blue state, red county. It doesn't matter where you live. Even if it's 25% Democrat, 75% Republican, which is an extreme split on a country that is basically 50-50 down the middle. Half Republican, half Democrat. Even though it's 50-50 in some areas, there's more Democrats and some there's less. But in every area, there are Democrats who are social communists, who are social fascists, and they don't even know it. They don't even know which one they are. And they're feminists. And they have lists, and they have your name on it, and you better believe it. You better be prepared here in your plan for the fact that these people have your fucking name and your address. Unless you've got a bug-out location they don't know about, you're not a sitting duck, but you're definitely a target. I'm a target. They don't know which plan I'm going to execute, but that doesn't make me not a target. And you can bet that they're going to use all the vitriol and all the hatred they have for Kavanaugh. They're going to blame you. And it doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're white, if you're old, if you're European descent. It doesn't matter. You can be a woman, and they're going to kick you. They're going to beat you. They're going to kill you when shit hits the fan. They're going to feel us out. You want a scenario? Here's your scenario. Woman, 1 or 2 children with her, walks up to your door, knocks on the door. Hi, we're just really hungry. Can we have some food? And you're like, we don't have any food, or here's a fucking bag of Top Ramen. Go 10 miles down to the road to the food bank. They're trying to help people down there. Okay, thank you very much. And they wander off. What did that person just do at your front door? As they walked across the sidewalk and up your driveway, or down your rural driveway and across your yard and up to your porch, they're trained to look for defense, to count bodies, to look for resources, to see what's available, to check everything they can so that they can victimize you in the future. They're already fucking doing it. They're already doing it. Criminals do it all the time to us. They drive down a street and press clickers and watch garage doors open so they know which ones they can get into. They see when people go to work and when they come home. In my town, in the winter, when people go out and start their vehicles to warm them up, they wait till they go back in the house and run up and steal their fucking cars. It's incredible. They're already out there. It's the same fucking mentality. It's the you have, I don't, I want, and you're going to give. And they steal and hurt people. You think when they're hungry, cold, scared, and being given orders from their radicalized feminist, communist leaders that they're not going to come for you? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I've been talking about feminists for a long time. And every now and then, on this channel, I bring it out and I talk about them. I talk about how radical they are. I talk about how crazy they are. I talk about how dangerous they are, how they've destroyed the American family. And guess what? Finally, people that I talk to on a daily basis are like, John, I can't believe it. You were right. These feminists are fucking crazy. They're crazy, John. Can you believe it? They're violent, too. They hate men, John. I didn't think it was true, but now I see it. Welcome to the party, pal. I love doing that Bruce Willis line from Die Hard. Welcome to the fucking party. I've known it for years. And I'm glad that everyone has been prepared for it. Consider the fact that women you meet when shit hits the fan, no matter how soft and pleading and begging, they're every bit as dangerous as any other man, every other human. Everyone you come across is a potential threat, and it's going to be up to you to understand, to know, to judge, to gauge, to have a plan for, to protect yourself, your family, your group, and your community from these radicalized lunatics. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying the odds are good it's going to happen. Either before, during, or after the election. Does it sound paranoid? I don't think so. I'm just prepared. You know, in all truth, I'm actually very calm inside. Mentally, I'm very calm. I'm not violent. I'm not radical. Right? Never been arrested for a crime in my life. Never worn a pair of handcuffs. Right? I'm just a regular guy. Just like you. I'm just a regular person. Right? But I paid attention and I do a lot of research. And I have a group of people that love to help contribute their opinions, their thoughts, their information. You guys are part of that, and I want to thank you for it. I want to thank you for sponsoring us here at Patreon, for passing the word, for helping other people realize the threat that we face. This is basically a potpourri message of get your shit together now, because it's going to get crazy. And if it doesn't, well, hell, we all got lots of food we can eat for the next few years. As inflation fucking skyrockets, you've got food. Cheap. You're eating on the cheap. If everything's fucking wonderful after the election, right? And we have dump trucks full of cash dumped in our front yard, and we're all great. And there's no problems ever again. You got food. You can shoot your guns off, enjoy. Anyways, you guys be cool, get prepared. This is serious shit, and I want to thank you for your comments, for helping others. Go to thepreparedmind.club, because over there we got lots of stuff for you to see, to learn about, and they can definitely help you with your preps. You guys be cool, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Because chance favors the prepared mind, is yours. Semper Fi, and Godspeed to everyone.